of entertainment 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 of entertainment.
Candy and the sun. Could you make me a woman? Showtime. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run daggers for you. Daggers for you. I know you're used to Lucy.
Hey there, a little bit atypical today. We have Gerald Morgan on location down in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. We were there last night for the parent-teacher, the board meeting, I guess. Not a PTA meeting, but they had to move it to a larger auditorium. Got a little bit... Let me ask you, what is going on with the state of our country here? That's what's happening today. Let me set the stage. There is an incident that... of which we were made aware of another would-be shooter, a second would-be shooter, and a scenario and a manifesto that destroyed a young girl's life. And we only found this out because a mother came forward yesterday at a meeting with the board that wouldn't have happened if not for you applying pressure. Now, this isn't about Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. This is about the level of either incompetence or corruption or a self-serving behavior. You have to take your pick. It takes place at the cost of children in this country. Now, take all of these scenarios and what you're about to see today and add school choice. You haven't abandoned school in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, but you are gaslit. You out there right now for being upset about the state of public education. You are vilified for siding against the true heroes, the public servants, when your children are being put in harm's way. This is not just happening in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. We could grab 20 schools in the districts around here. I guarantee we would find the exact same stories. We're just not able to corroborate it, and we had parents who had had enough. These parents today, and you will see exclusive footage, have a voice because of you. Children will be safer there because of you. And we appreciate your support, by the way. None of this investigative journalism happens without Mug Club. You can send also your tips through our encrypted phone line. We have the promo code today, undercover, for $10 off Mug Club. And we're going to provide you with some steps today, because I know that a lot of you, like the last time we ran one of these segments, said, what is it that I can do? And you feel helpless. And I'll tell you what, we never want to be a place where we just bitch about what's going on and provide you with no solutions. That's goofy, dumb, CNN, Fox News talk. We don't do that here. There's a lot that you can do, but I do think that we are at a tipping point in this country where public education, we need to change our vernacular. It is not about servants. It is not about the true heroes. These are people who are supposed to serve you and protect the most vulnerable among us, our children. It's not happening. And I know today's going to be a little bit more heavy. It shouldn't take what started as a comedy show to start an investigative unit to get to the bottom of what you as a parent have the right to know anyway. Another would-be shooter with targets and a girl who hasn't been to school in a year because of how severe it was. This is completely separate from the last story. We just stumbled upon it and have corroborated it. Oops. And that's what happens across this country. Oops. Sorry. I didn't know. Sorry, we didn't think that you needed to know as a parent. Hey, what's the solution to this, by the way? Throw more money at it. So don't ever, if you are a parent, do not ever allow someone, if you support school vouchers or school choice or homeschooling, don't ever allow someone to guilt you into being portrayed as not compassionate. Well, what do you don't want to support our failing schools? Keyword is failing. And we talk about how they are failing in record numbers with math, with reading, despite it being the easiest era that has ever been seen in humanity as it relates to gaining new information. We now have the ability to be smarter than ever. We're dumber than ever. And we also have the ability to be safer than ever, and we're not. We're not. Our children are not safer than ever. Must be guns. That's the problem. Even, you know what? Must be SSRIs. Before we get to that, how about the people who are paid to do their job, who refuse to, and only speak out when they're caught. I say this because, look, I'm a dad. Kissed my kids a little bit more this morning before I left the house when I watched the videos that you're about to see. And I hope you hug your kids a little bit tighter. Because if you don't have the luxury of sending them to a decent school and you just put them through the system where, by God, throw more money at it, you hope that people are doing their job to keep them safe. But they're not. And they're not due to political expediency, due to the inability for these people to be held accountable, thanks to unions, largely public sector unions. And so many parents out there who reached out to us are frustrated. And you know what happens? They yell, and you'll see some parents yelling today, and the story becomes about their rage. Right? We run the story with this manifesto, just like Nashville. It's fake, they say. Then it's confirmed, and this shouldn't be out there anyways. These people now it's blame the messenger, and the messenger is you, the parents. It takes a village. You need to understand this. When we're talking about this today, okay, the left does not believe in parental rights. It's like Hamas with exterminating the Jews. It's part of their charter. You don't just ask yourself, what happens in public education right now? What happens in our country right now? You need to ask yourself, what would happen if these people, meaning the progressive left, the people who have infiltrated all of our institutions, had power completely unfettered? What would they do? We have the answers, and Chippewa Falls is a microcosm. You could throw a dart against a map and find a school where the exact same thing is taking place, and by God, I hope it's not your school, and I am grateful. I am thankful to the Lord above that we are talking about something thwarted and information being provided to you rather than kids being rolled out in a hearse. Because when that happens, it becomes about guns. And it becomes about you and how it's your fault again. Crazy parent, crazy community member who wants to keep yourself safe through your Second Amendment. Give your kids to us for 8 hours. Well, guess what? So many parents are, and it sucks. It sucks. And it shouldn't take what we are about to do today. And you know what else? Hey, I don't even know if this is going to cut through the algorithms. I don't even know if we're still on YouTube. We weren't yesterday. Hit the like button. You can share if you want people to see this. Of course, you can join up with the Mug Club Army where you can get this stuff out there because you are the conduit. You are the voice for these parents out there. And I can't tell you how helpless they feel. And I'm going to tell you this. We're not the best voice for them. We shouldn't be. Someone's got to do something. So today's a start. Let's go.
There was a group of students that were wanting to basically do what the Columbine kids did. I was notified by the assistant principal that my daughter was in the safe room at the school, but we needed to come and get her because they found her name on a hit list. My daughter was asked to not tell her friends about the situation. I was told not to tell other parents, to not raise chaos. And Officer Downey, Officer Flug, they were all a part of it.
Confidential and behavioral information about the student's behavior is confidential. So
Irrelevant.
I'm sorry.
Irrelevant. It's nothing to do with it.
We're not asking about information about the student. We're asking about notification to the parents. Why can't you tell the parents? That's all we're asking.
And you know, my daughter, she was in marching band color guard, and she was the most happiest, bubbliest kid. She was always happy. And now she can't even leave the house because she's so scared. She got rid of her cell phone. She got rid of social media because she's so scared because now she's that kid.
Yeah. You have other parents on your side right now, and you have everybody out there that will know this story.
Our eyes and ears are everywhere. We are many. We are among you. We are Mug and Club.
All right. I mean it, by the way. I really do mean this when we just hit that cold open. Let's bring up the rundown. We have a new manifesto there at Chippewa Falls, a cover-up. We're still getting to the bottom of it. Yesterday was the parent board meeting that they had to move to a bigger auditorium. Gerald was down there. Let him know you love him. He did an unbelievable job. Really did. Really proud to be able to call him my friend.
He's still down there.
He is still down there. We're going to have him,
up there.
He was in his hotel room, and I said, go out in front of the school so that people know you're there. You could just be down the street at the Hyatt. And he said, yeah, but it's 4 degrees. I said, I don't care. So today is a special, the installment. And I mean it. I don't want to have to be the guy to do this. We sit back and, write sketches and funny bits. But this stuff goes right across somebody else's desk, and they don't do a damn thing about it. We're going to have Gay William on the show later in a luchador mask. Yep. I shouldn't be the voice for parents whose children were almost massacred. But they say, can someone do something? Can someone say something? So let me ask you this. How involved are you? If you are a mom, if you are a dad, how involved are you with your children's life at school? And if something goes wrong, do you know who to contact? Do you know what to do? Do you know what steps you can take? Because I tell you what, if you ask the people in charge of the schools, a lot of the time they don't tell you. So we're going to give you those steps today because I don't want to leave you feeling helpless. So if at some point, I don't even know if we're there today, yesterday, if you see this, that means this may not be allowed to be broadcast on YouTube and head on over to Rumble, which is exactly what happened with the Nashville Manifesto as well. So if you're on YouTube, it didn't exist. A crazy conspiracy theorist. You think people are being throttled for their point of view? You think they want to engineer you through the artificial intelligence. We call it the algorithm. It's a brain that doesn't exist to provide you content that you don't even want and is of no use. Yep. In third chair today, you know him, you love him, you thank him for his service. He will be at the Funny Bone, Des Moines, Iowa, March 1st on the Friday. Thank you, Josh Firestine. How are you?
Good. I'll be telling jokes on
Yep.
Friday. Today I'll be angry about a bunch of school board personnel who suck.
Yeah. Safety of let's say safety of your children.
Right.
That's what they say. I think it's a little arrogant for them to talk that way, and I don't know why they sound like Lorne Michaels.
They all sound arrogant too, always. Especially when you put them in a corner, they get more arrogant.
Yes, they do. Oh well, you know what? We're doing the finest. Shut up. Shut your mouth. No, you're not.
We're just following policy.
Yeah.
I went to University of Arizona. I know what I'm talking about. All right.
You fed sunflower seeds to the preschoolers. So.
Oof. Unshelled.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of the worst thing I could think of. Okay. So let me read you.
Barbecue.
I don't know if it makes a big difference at this juncture, but
dill pickle.
Okay. Dill pickle is.
It's a good flavor.
I'm an adult. I don't trust myself with sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
What am I, a shortstop? All right. So let me read this to you, and then we'll go to Gerald, who's on the ground, on location, and we'll show you some footage from the Chippewa Falls conference, I guess, if you want to call it that, the school board meeting that took place last night. It ended up being far bigger than we expected, and we appreciate your support. So this is from the original manifesto of the would-be school shooter in Chippewa Falls. I have to say the original because there's a new one, and it's someone else. Who had the plans, the dates, times, places, targets, and materials being purchased to massacre other children, and this student was instead put on suspension, and the parents were never notified because you have to keep up appearances, love. So here's a brief recap in case you missed that one, and we'll provide the link in the description. The school board knew about it. The police knew about it because there was a police report. Only you, the parents, were not notified of this serious.
There was more of a scene, so you want to let people know. With this one, there wasn't that same scene, so you just didn't feel necessary to basically just scare people, I guess, or alert, something like that.
Sure.
Okay.
While at the court appearance, Hahn and Principal Rusha gained access to the checkered notebook. They informed me it was something serious. Recall, no one was ever at risk. They informed me it was something serious. A few hours later, I returned back to school and reviewed the book. I opened the checkered blue, black, and gold notebook and found that it was titled Operator's Manual to Manic Violence. They write, I, from this book, will learn how to make deadly and lethal weapons, create, make drugs, and tamper and use electronics. I am glad that I'm reading it. It will help my plan a lot. The entire system failed this child. The school failed them. Social workers failed them. Their family failed them. And it was all done with an assist. So really quickly, as we get CEO Gerald Morgan on the line, who, unfortunately, he has had to travel to. I mean, hell has frozen over, and it's Chippewa Falls.
He's been freezing for the last 5 minutes.
You can send your tips to lwctips@protonmail.com. It's not just about this school. It's about what is happening in this country at large. But this did specifically happen in Wisconsin, okay? Last night, the Chippewa Falls, the school district there, they had their first public meeting to address the incident. They kept punting it. They had to move it to a bigger auditorium. We had our team on the ground in Wisconsin to give you live coverage. And then we found out new information, that there have been multiple manifestos, specifically in this district, covered up. And what you're about to see and hear today, some of it is disturbing because you will see some upset parents who've had to live with the fallout and live with it alone. So we thank you for your support. None of this would be brought to you, the Nashville Manifesto, not to mention all of the content here, without your support. And we're doing $10 off right now if you use the promo code undercover at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub. We appreciate it. Join if you don't want to. Hey, we'll keep doing what we can. We just ask that you hit that Mug Club jar. So now let's go live to CEO Gerald Morgan. Captain Morgan, can you hear me, sir?
I can. How are you doing, Stephen?
That is a dumb jacket. Now.
Yeah, blood.
Hey, listen. It's negative 11 degrees with a wind chill, but it's okay. I have jeans and this dumb jacket, so I'm good to go for, I think, 3 or 4 minutes at least.
You look like you were in the first X-Men, the one where Hugh Jackman wasn't on steroids yet. He was still a little puffy.
Did I come to Wisconsin and get made fun of for my jacket?
Yes, you did. All right. Well, I know you're out there cold. Kind of give us just a brief setup here for people who are just coming into the stream. You're there in Chippewa Falls. Why are you there? What happened? What transpired last night? Because there were developments that I found out about late last night and early this morning.
So, absolutely. So, obviously, I'm out in front of the middle school right now of Chippewa Falls, where all of this took place, the active shooter threat that we had, and then the one that reported on, obviously, from October. And then we found out another one last night. So because of our reporting, because of Mug Club and the ability to come and break these kinds of stories, we were able to go and kind of force them to have a board meeting last night to address the family's concerns. So many people had reached out and emailed and called that they said, we're going to have a special meeting. Almost all of the time was devoted to this, even though there were a handful of other items. But we got enough parents there to where they could express their frustration. And what we thought we were going to hear is, hey, we should have been notified. What we ended up hearing was that plus other stories of potential active shooters that had been hidden at the same school in the same year. So the story that we're going to talk about today is from the spring of 2023. The one that we originally broke happened in the fall of 2023. So in the same year, obviously different school year, this is happening at the middle school. And so we were shocked to find out that this was not a one-off.
Right.
It was not just an isolated incident. It wasn't the first time that the school district didn't notify parents when something like this happened. So it was shocking to all of us and very sad. My stomach was in knots. I kept saying it. I was just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe that this is happening and they're not letting this person get some kind of safety or closure so that they don't have to be in the same school as this person. And we'll get to that in just a second when we go to the interview. But it was shocking. And it was a school board that basically was telling us, hey, hands are tied.
Right.
Can't do anything. The law, the law, the law, the law. But they would never answer the question specifically if the law prevented them from sending any kind of notification to parents.
Right.
Or if they were just going to hide behind the law and try to cover themselves.
Yes. All right. Well, Gerald, go inside and get warm. We'll roll some of these clips here. We appreciate you setting it up. And let me introduce everyone out there here to Emily Gumbert. This is a parent from the district. And just to sort of spoil the ending here, the law does not prevent them from letting you know, parents. We'll give you the facts that are irrefutable. This is them hiding behind the law, using it, exploiting it. They're not telling you the truth. So this is Emily Gumbert, a parent in this district, testified and revealed a very personal story that there was another manifesto with her child as a target that had been completely buried by this very same administration. Emily Gumbert.
My name is Emily Gumbert. My address is in Chippewa. I'm addressing the board right now because I would like for them to be able to be transparent with the fact that this incident in October was not the first one. There was an incident that happened in spring of 2023 that was not made aware to parents. There was a manifesto that was made by a certain individual student at the middle school of an 8th grade. There was a hit list of 3 individual children at the school. The principal, Mr. DeRusha.
Again, I'm asking not to mention any particular names.
Okay, the vice principal.
Hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Contacted me, as I am the parent of one of those children that was on that manifesto. I was told to come and pick up my daughter 2 hours after the police department had found this notebook. Not to mention that I was told by the police department to make sure my daughter was in a safe place because this individual student had threatened to steal a firearm. These parents had no idea of that. I was told that it was going to be addressed. Not even a week and a half later, if you look at your emails of the SWAT incident, that was after my daughter's incident. And they decided to let everybody else know about the attempted SWAT, but didn't let the parents know about the incident that was on a manifesto in spring of 2023. My question for the board is, these students that have been targeted, where is the mental health help for them? My daughter is now a freshman in high school. She cannot attend school. You know why? Because this individual student was allowed to come back to the school. Nope. And she was allowed to come back. This student was allowed to come back half days. I was not notified. My daughter had to notify me. She had to notify me. She called me crying at school because this child was allowed to come back to school. The high school had no idea. Guidance counselors had no idea what had happened at the middle school the year before. You guys are letting us down. My daughter cannot even attend school because she is scared. She should not be scared to go to school every day. I am so frustrated, and she wanted to come tonight, but she was so scared to address you guys. Wow. She is 15 years old. She was on a hit list when she was in middle school. You can contact the police department. I have the police report, and I have no problem with making that public.
Perfect. Do it.
Two things. And you can comment below, Mike, and that helps with the AI, the fake brain that doesn't exist. That's not fake crying. Notice that's actually a woman who's trying to control herself and is overflowing with emotion. You guys ever seen someone fake cry? Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like being worked. That's not what happened there. And isn't it interesting? Could you please not name any specific names? Oh, so you want to protect the identity of the people who don't protect the physical safety of children? Hey, maybe these people on the board, and I know, some of you are going, it's not fair to single out some of them. It's not fair for children to be singled out in school. And it's not fair for us to have a system where every time we roll around with an election, throw more money at it. Throw more money at what you just saw. Give that board an octupling of their salaries. You think those kids are any safer, or you think you'll end up with just as many crying moms? Honestly, in your heart of hearts, what do you think? Because any of you who send your children to public schools, hopefully they're better than this, but you don't know. You can't know. Throw more money at it. So Gerald caught up with Emily after the meeting. I'm very proud that not only is he CEO of the company, but to call him my friend. We are going to get to him confronting the board later, as well as more parents. It got a little bit rowdy, but here's Gerald actually clarifying, and we've corroborated many of her claims here behind the scenes regarding the incident. And thank you, Emily, for coming forward. Really appreciate it.
For people maybe who missed it, can you tell us just a little bit about what happened and when it happened?
Spring of 2023. So it would have been my daughter's 8th grade year at the middle school in Chippewa. Pretty much the same situation happened. There was a group of students that were wanting to basically do what the Columbine kids did. And
a group of students were wanting to do that.
There were a couple of kids, and the notebook that was found was from one particular student. And basically what it was is student was trying to recruit other kids to do what they did on 420 on Columbine. And because some kids didn't want to do it, then they got put on this hit list. I was notified by the assistant principal that my daughter was in the safe room at the school, but we needed to come and get her because they found her name on a hit list.
Do you know if they notified anybody else that was on this list?
They didn't.
Notification go out to all the parents about anything like that?
Nope. But a week and a half, not even 2 weeks later, there was the attempted swatting, and that email went out.
Yeah.
But nothing else. But we had to go get my daughter from school, and actually my father was the one who was able to get there faster than I could to the middle school. The assistant principal, he said, she's safe in the safe room, but this is the incident that happened. This is the information that we found. She's on this hit list. This is the date that it's going to happen. It's up to you if you want her to attend school or not on this day. Well, why? Really? Why would I? We were asked, and my daughter was asked to not tell her friends about the situation. I was told or asked not to tell other parents, to not raise chaos. And Officer Downey, Officer Flug, they were all a part of it because I spoke with them. I spoke with them all. We were offered surveillance around our house. Even after, on the weekend, we were told that if we felt extra protection was needed, then that would be the case more, they would come around more.
Yeah.
My daughter was taken somewhere else because this girl her location was not known, and she had written in this notebook that she was going to steal a gun. And when I had no idea about the October incident because my daughter went from 8th grade to freshman year here at the high school. Mm-hmm. And so I had no idea. When I heard about it, my stomach, I almost physically got sick because it is almost word for word what happened. And not to mention that my daughter does not physically go to school anymore because this student was allowed to come back here to the school.
What justification would they have given you for that, or did they?
They had no idea what had happened the year before. And that comes from the guidance counselors, that comes from the dean of students, Mr. Nelson, because I sat down weeks prior and had a meeting with them. And
to let them know.
Well, I was trying to explain why my daughter was having panic attacks at school, why she was not wanting to come to school. Well, they should have let us know. My daughter had to find out by walking down that set of stairs over there and that girl being right there. That's how she found out that this student was back at school. And you know what their justification was? Well, student only comes half days. That's no justification at all whatsoever.
No,
none.
Not at all. Why do you think the information didn't transfer up? That seems like a very simple process. And are you worried that maybe this would happen in this case as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. And my daughter, she was in marching band, color guard, and She was the most happiest, bubbliest kid. She was always happy. And now she can't even leave the house because she's so scared. She got rid of her cell phone. She got rid of social media because she's so scared because now she's that kid.
Yeah. This is just, the decisions of this district seem to be destroying the lives of innocent students.
But one parent can't do anything, and that's where I was back then.
Right.
I was one parent, and I couldn't do anything. And so that's why I'm so happy that other parents, and I feel that it is partly my fault too that I didn't make it more public or tried harder. But I am a single mom of 3 girls, and I have a special needs daughter as well.
Yeah.
That's no justification at all.
No, but life is very difficult and busy. But guess what?
Yep.
You have other parents on your side right now, and you have everybody out there that will know this story. When I said that, I was not grandstanding. Everybody that we can possibly tell this story to tomorrow morning will know. These guys are staying up all night to make sure that this gets... I'm not kidding. Like, this can't... If it's happening to you, imagine how many people around the country this is potentially happening to.
Right.
So we're going to fight for you.
Thank you.
We're going to get your story out, and then if we have to come back up here again, we've got to sit through the drivel from the lawyers and everybody else up there again, and we have to yell at them again, they have to listen to us at some point.
Fight for my daughter and the other kids, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You had a great venue here.
Thank you.
I appreciate
I know
it.
that's hard to talk about.
Comment below if you tastefully think Emily's cute. I'm just saying, look, it can brighten her day. She's probably not one of those angry feminists who's going to be upset if you say she's cute. She's got a cute smile.
Yeah.
She could use a little wind beneath her wings. And people talk about bravery. Oh, I'm so brave as a teacher to Zoom call during COVID.
Oh, you're always so brave in your place of power.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your high tower. You're so brave above us all.
Yes. Hi above me. She's so bitchy. Not her, the board people.
Yeah, bored.
So, Mug Club Undercover, again, we have independently verified communications between Emily and the Chippewa Falls area, the USD there. The investigation is ongoing, and I will tell you that I think we have some fairly explosive details. And again, I want you to, this is not just about Chippewa Falls. There are a lot of stories that come to us through you. It comes down to what we can verify. Nashville wasn't the first. We were able to verify it. This is not the first story of this kind. We were able to verify it. You are the ones out there taking these brave steps. That woman's not in a position of power. Oh, political persecution isn't a thing. You think so? You don't think Emily's going to deal with some challenges in that district? We'll get to some more on that because she already has. So now let's go to the actual meeting that had taken place. Now remember, I want to put you back in time. This happened with Nashville. And when I say us, I do mean you. And when I say Chippewa Falls, I do mean you. Where they said this quasi-media outlet, they're just drudging up an issue which really is unfair and cruel to the parents. That's what they said about the Nashville Manifesto. Hey, if you have a son or if you have a daughter who's one of those preppy jocks, pretty girls, or white Christians who's being targeted, you going to be upset? You going to be upset with the tip line? Are you going to be upset with this broadcast? That's what they want you to believe. Just to be clear. They're trying to, and this term is misused because of pop psychology, they are trying to gaslight you, not what we do. Do you know how we know it's true? Well, the meeting, which they desperately wanted to avoid, and then desperately would have preferred happened in the dead of night with closed doors, took place last night. And the parents, who you were all told were furious with us, no. It's pretty clear to see with whom they were furious, and they let it show.
Good evening. This goes to the principal, staff, officers, and superintendent who covered up this planned targeted attack on Christians, pretty girls, and jocks. Is there a reason this evil demonic student and their planned attack was hidden from us parents? So my call to action is for the firing of any and all parties who are involved in this targeted cover-up.
It's my understanding that the manifesto had, it indicated a threat to Christians. My question was, in The response that was criticized of the district, did that include informing McDonald Catholic Schools, who's right across the street, of the threat, or were they kept in the dark?
The answer is always yes. You always inform the parents that there was a threat or a potential threat. As a parent, taxpayer, community member, and a concerned citizen, I feel your lack of transparency in this possibly volatile matter deserves accountability. Therefore, I'm asking again for you to relieve Superintendent Jeff Holmes from his duties here at...
Again, as I said, please refer to the administration. We're not referring to any individual people or students.
Therefore, I'm asking again for you to relieve the whole administration.
That's right.
My granddaughter cannot even come to school. She's afraid. I tried to take her there one day and she couldn't make it. Couldn't even make it in the door. So I wonder what you guys are going to do about this, because this is ridiculous. She's a mess. And there's no reason for this, for you guys to be covering this up. Now you know about it now, so let's do something. Because if you don't, I want you to all resign. You hear me?
Tomorrow the rest of the country is going to know this story too.
I gave you a heads up over 30 days ago, and you couldn't even reply to an email. TV 18, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, anyone who wants to talk to me, this whole town has corruption, and I have all the proof to prove it. My name's Mike Schermacher, and I've graduated from the School of the United States Navy, and you're going to listen to me.
Extremists. Remember what happened in Loudoun County? None of this happens in darkness anymore. And we appreciate you can take anything that you see today, by the way. Cut it, upload it. We don't care. We're not worried about this being proprietary. Put up the email there for people to know. You can join the Mug Club Army at loudearthcredit.com. We don't send you news updates, no newsletters. This is a private email list to people who want to make a difference and get any of these stories out there. You have full license to take whatever you want. Just don't, Photoshop wieners into it, which, by the way, I know some of you do. Okay, you can do it sometimes.
I was okay with it personally.
Yeah. Just keep it limited.
Personal preference.
Yeah. Keep it tasteful.
Yeah, make it tasteful.
Yeah, tasteful.
And creative, too. Don't be a hack.
No, exactly. Yeah. The art of suggestion, not vulgarity. So, first off, I love how Gerald was sitting like he was sitting on a throne.
It was like all alone in the middle of the seats.
And that took a lot because Gerald is extremely polite, but he couldn't help himself. And I want you to also see a dynamic here because Gerald Morgan took the microphone there. And I do appreciate that they actually did let him take the microphone. We didn't think that they would, so credit where it is due. But again, remember, before last night, there were press releases sent out, and it was about how we, Gerald, you, same exact thing with the Nashville Manifesto, how this story being out in the public was harming the parents. So in the best interest of the parents, this really shouldn't be getting out there, right? That's always the messaging. So I want you to watch Gerald, who is a very kind man but has a limit. I want you to watch him speaking to the board and tell me if this looks like a group of parents who are mad at him.
Next we have Gerald Morgan.
Good evening, Gerald. I'm Gerald Morgan with Louder with Crowder, or as this board referred to us, a quasi-media outlet, and we are the ones that broke this story. I echo the thanks that all of these people have said. We should be here celebrating the fact that you guys did avert a tragedy. The police, the administrators, the board, the faculty, the teachers, everybody did a phenomenal job, right up to notifying the parents. The problem that I have is that there hasn't been accountability taken for that misstep. The question that I would have for the board, and maybe this can be brought up later, did you go home and talk to your kids after finding out this information? Did you lean into conversations a little bit more? Did you ask them more probing questions about their friends, about frustrations at school, about how they were feeling about life, about how events that happen around this country are affecting them? I imagine you did, and that's good. That's good parenting. Unfortunately, the board deprived all of the parents that are here tonight of that opportunity because they had no idea. And we all make mistakes, but I know that every single one of you are committed to the education of children. And one of the things that I know that you drill into us, rightfully so, is taking responsibility, accountability for your actions. And when this information came out, the response that we got, just want to make sure that I get it correctly, at no time were any of the students at risk, that you couldn't notify parents due to the legal process and restrictions, and that we, the media, were sensationalizing. This was a serious issue. And you know how I know? Because you took decisive action. Again, the right steps. On October 23rd, the student was suspended right after this interrogation happened. October 24th was a very dangerous day. You know why? Because in this police report, the student was actively recruiting somebody to be their Dylan to the Eric. Going to recreate Columbine. You had an exact time and day. You had means of doing this. You had plans, you had opportunity, and now you might actually have an accomplice out there. Nobody here knew that. Only you knew that. That's a big problem for these parents because they're their kids. You're entrusted to take care of them for a short period of time. They take care of them and protect them their entire lives. The information belonged to them to be able to do that job as a parent. And then you suspended them, permanently expelled them on December 6th. The right move. But again, parents didn't know that. They had no idea that this threat even existed. This has to change. The only thing that I can think of is that the lawyers are going to tell us that the parents here did not have a right to know what was going on in their schools. That can't possibly be the answer. I'm a parent. I have kids that are about to start school. If something like this happens, I have a right to know. And I have a right to use that information to say, you know what, I'm done. Public school, I'm done with it, I'm looking at other options, or I'm looking at more board members to see if they're going to notify us when these things happen. When things happened in the past, you guys notified parents. That was the right move then, it's the right move now, and it should have happened on October 24th, not February 7th, by a news organization in Dallas, Texas, coming out and saying what all of these parents should have known months ago. I am glad we're not up here talking about the ramifications of what could have happened. I'm glad that nothing happened for this person who was now given nothing but time to stew over this, and on October 24th could have made a phone call and said, hey, I got suspended. You're going to have to move forward without me. You remember what we said we were going to do in the classrooms and at the Times and the targets, the Christians, the preppy girls, the jocks? You're going to have to do it without me. These parents could have been your line of defense, asking questions to their kids, saying, hey, have you been talking about this stuff? Has this been happening? And if the lawyers said you can't put somebody's information out there specifically, I understand that too. They could have been very general. Lean in with your kids, guys. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world. Here are some of the topics we think you should be discussing. But instead, we get, nobody was ever in danger. How do we know? You guys thought it was serious enough then. What changed? Why weren't parents notified? They need answers. This has to change. If it takes a change in board to do that, that's fine. If it takes a change in attitude, that's what I would prefer. You have to understand that you deprive parents of this, and if you're going to say that the law is preventing you, then guess what? This fight just got bigger, and the law needs to change. Thank you.
So I'm going to take a minute here to brag a little bit, and I'm going to brag on Gerald. I'm very proud not only that he works at this company, but that guy right there, that's one of my best friends. He has been for a long time. And I will tell you this, I've never in my life seen Gerald lose his composure in an interaction with someone. Where if you didn't know him, you'd think, this has got to be fake. This isn't a real person. I've seen him lose his composure, and quiet or something. Closes the door and just, but he's a very good man. And when they try to say quasi-media outlet, again, what they try and do, it's character assassinate, it's destroy the messenger. We just happen to have you. But if it's just you, a parent, I don't know what would have happened with this mother if we weren't there. What kind of a smear campaign would happen? Because you never know. They don't have a voice. Gerald is a very good man who has a limit. And I know that he was absolutely at his limit. And I think they expected a troll to show up, right? They say quasi-media outlet. They say clickbait. And they expect someone to show up, like a troll at some kind of a Senate hearing, which can be fun. And they end up with that guy. And I tell you what, that guy's a handful to deal with on your best day. Go ahead and try and character assassinate that man. Go ahead and try and say that wasn't a man actually trying to make a difference. Hit the like button if you want to see more of Captain Morgan, Gerald himself, on the ground reporting, because this is his first time doing it.
You think they let him speak and they think to themselves, yeah, let this guy speak. He's gonna make a good point for our case.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him say his rhetoric, yada yada. Yeah. And it'll be a good point for us to make.
Right. Well, they're expecting someone like me on the show. I'm like, let him come out here and make a bunch of inappropriate jokes, and we'll say, how could he say this? And instead,
or angry or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tend to.
We didn't have a morph suit for Gerald.
No, we did not have it.
No, it was great. I when he sat down, did you notice that there's a lady in the back? She was like leaning towards her friend like this.
Ooh.
Yeah, like, ooh.
I didn't know he was a.
She was like leaning in this.
All we have here is cheese.
Yeah.
He's a giant, too. People don't realize Gerald is a giant.
Yeah, did you notice the microphone like in his belly?
Yeah, I know. Gerald, raise it up.
Come on.
Just aim it up. You know what he told me? He's like, man, I was so nervous. He's like, I was shaking. I'm like, that's Gerald Morgan nervous.
He didn't notice the microphone.
Yeah.
I get that, though.
But completely composed. And you know what? Hey, look, just stay the course. Stick with the plan. Gerald Morgan is very good at that, and that's because we'd be doing you a disservice. We'd be doing these families a disservice if we just went forward and said, let's just blow this up. It's not about us. It really isn't. And I'm actually very grateful that he went out there and I didn't. Like, you're feeding sunflower seeds to preschoolers, so that would be my thing. Now, before we get into the superintendent's statement, because they try and put up some defenses here, which, again, just not true. It's not a matter of opinion. They're not true. Let me give you some fast facts here. Here's a key fact number one. All of these, by the way, will make these references publicly available. The revenue per student at Chippewa Falls is $14.6 thousand. Right, so just picture what we're spending per student, $14.6 thousand. Across Wisconsin, it's about $16,000 per student. So what do you think would solve this issue? 18,000? 22,000? There are plenty of districts where that's the case. Go to Detroit. Go to places like St. Louis, New York, Chicago. Higher than average per pupil spending. We have the largest drop in reading and math scores ever, despite having smartphones and iPads. And that's way further down the trail from just keeping your children safe. So the money is there, to be clear. And in also places like Wisconsin, but across this country, here's another fact for you, fast fact number two, because we're talking about the true heroes. Teachers in Wisconsin are tenured after 3 years.
Jeez.
Wow. So think about that.
God, man.
So what do you do as a parent? According to a national study, it can take up to 2 years for a non-tenured teacher to be fired for poor performance.
A non-tenured teacher?
Yeah.
How long does it take for a tenured teacher?
It's very hard to find. They just don't.
How long does it take to get qualified to be a teacher?
Right.
Because I might be leaving the show.
Well, you know what? Being one of the true heroes is not a poor business. Also, consider TikToking nurse.
So brave, Josh.
Good idea.
It's not to say that there aren't good teachers. It's not to say that there aren't good superintendents. We're past the point where the good teachers out there, superintendents, principals, if you don't speak up, you are part of the problem. This isn't some stupid leftist trope. Words are violence. Silence is violence. No, you see what's happening around you. There's plenty of money. It's impossible to fire these people in authority. There's no accountability. And then when children, how many stories have we heard where children die, where there's a shooting, and then the same people who invariably vote left, at least we know that approximately 100% of the teachers' unions do, they make it about guns. They take away the rights from you. They take away parental rights because they know best. your children end up being harmed. And I say, oh, well, we need to take away more of your rights. The Second Amendment, that's the problem here. A tenured teacher, and we don't have national studies on, for example, superintendents, principals, administrators. It looks like it's about the same. If someone has those studies, please do send them in. You can send them in chat. So we have to go based on the research available with teachers. It's almost impossible to fire a tenured teacher. It's 2 years for a non-tenured teacher in public school. It's seemingly impossible for a tenured teacher. Now, let's also add this, a key fact, before we get to the defenses from the superintendent. The number of administration positions in the United States has skyrocketed. So more money, more people to put up more red tape, more bureaucracy. It hasn't worked. It will not work. And it's what they are arguing for as far as the lobbying. Since 1950, student growth has grown about 100%. Hey, that's significant. What do they tell you? We need more teachers. The reason that school is so much worse now, the reason school has not improved since the Federal Department of Education, you're an extremist if you believe in defunding it, by the way, is because we don't have enough teachers per student. Student population has gone up 100%. Teacher growth has gone up 243%. 2.5 times the amount. Now, that's a small percentage compared to the administration growth, meaning bureaucrats, the true heroes. It's gone up 709% in this country.
Jeez.
709%. 7 times the student body rate. The pure people spending has gone up. So there's more money. There are more teachers than ever. There are certainly more administrators than ever. And performance is down. And safety is down. More money isn't the solution. The solution has to come with some kind of accountability. And as the costs have gone up, accountability has gone down. Let me give you another key fact here. The superintendent, Jeff Holmes, I know what you're thinking. Why single out this guy? Well, many reasons. Guy makes $185,000 a year with $57,000 in benefits. True hero. Servant. This is a public servant. Really? So you're the public servant with over $200,000 a year in salary and benefits, while the average salary in the state of Wisconsin is $41,000.
Jeez.
Ooh, and he takes July off.
At least. At least. I'm here to serve you. I make 5 times your salary.
And he doesn't have to use the Affordable Care Act. He's got his own benefits.
Right.
No, but he will recommend it for your children.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know what? Hey, I'll tell you what. You will never hear the words, the name, Jeff Holmes come out of my mouth again if you can prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that he's never argued for more money or he's taken a pay cut. How about that? Hey, you know who's taken a pay cut? Myself, when we were growing this company. There have been people here who've sacrificed bonuses, who've had to put, and we don't get July, August off and a nice Christmas break. And I'm willing to bet that you don't either. I'm willing to bet that if you have to put your children in public school, you probably have to work the whole year. But the people there to serve you don't. Yeah. Regular feet washers. So let me give you the who this is. All the references are publicly available, just to be clear. This is Superintendent Jeff Holmes. And
hey, Holmes. That's not his name. I'm just being cool.
With his brother, Jeff Esse.
Hey, Esse and Holmes.
Esse.
Sherlock Holmes.
Why don't you do your long division, bro? So Jeff Holmes gave a statement, and we'll go through some of the claims that he makes. And again, it's like it's like vampire to a sunlight, to sunlight, not to a sunlight. I guess a form of sunlight. I don't know how the rays work. He doesn't want, and this school board at large, this board of supervisors at large, do not want any transparency. We'll go through the claims that are made. We'll tell you why they are false, what steps you can take. But here is Jeff Holmes, the superintendent, on the decision, the justification, to not disclose someone attempting to massacre their children and instead putting them on suspension without letting the parents know.
Essentially, the way the policies are currently written, as a district, we're expressly told to follow FERPA and Wisconsin state statutes in that regard. Currently, the way the policies are written, it allows discretion on the part of administrators. Why is that important? Is because then I have to go back to the laws surrounding student records. I have to think about the extent of FERPA, and I have to think about the extent of Wisconsin school student records.
Now, you'd like to think that even if that were a legitimate defense, which it's not, someone would have a crisis of conscience and do the right thing anyways. You'd like to think that. But we aren't even at that impasse because that claim is not true. Let me give you his claim again for those of you who missed it. He says that actually we had to hide this information from families. And keep in mind, this is just a proxy for what happens in schools across the country, public schools, because of FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act.
FERPA, the distant cousin of FUPA.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people there, a lot of the cheeseheads.
Stephen.
FUPA, that's my name. So he also cites a Wisconsin General School Operations statute. I want to make sure I get this right because I know that we'll be sued. And it's 118.125. So here is also that clip where he mentions it. And notice the parental reaction. Now, I'll let you know, none of that's true, but let's just hear him say it in his own words.
There are two laws that are primarily an issue when we talk about pupil record confidentiality. One of them is a federal law that we refer to as FERPA. That's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. The other is 118.125 of the Wisconsin statutes. Under both of them, pupil record information is confidential and behavioral information about a student's behavior is confidential. In fact, there's a separate category for pupil behavioral records. One of the challenges, of course, is that it's not only pupil records that are confidential, but pupil record information. If a parent doesn't object, you can provide the dates of attendance of the student, and so you can say when that student began and when they had their last day. And at least as I've been informed, the people in question, their last day was also the day of the incident. That was their last day of attendance. So
Irrelevant.
I'm sorry.
Irrelevant. It has nothing to do with
And again, those are the authorities that I was asked to answer by the president, and so I wanted to make sure to cover that. Did that answer your question, Mr. President?
We're not asking about information about the student. We're asking about notification to the parents. Why don't you tell the parents? That's all we're asking.
All right. That sounds like parents, right, who are mad with you, mad with us, not with the school board. Here's the truth. Let me be really clear about this. Informing parents about what transpired, a violent threat, would not violate FERPA at all. It only protects education records. Let me read you an excerpt from the FERPA FAQ. It's a silly word. It's fun to say.
FERPA.
Law enforcement unit records are not education records subject to the privacy protections of FERPA. We got more information from the police report, just to be clear, to give you some context. Here's another truth for you. Based on what he is saying, informing the parents about what transpired would also not violate any Wisconsin state law. Let me read you this from wisconsin.gov. A school board shall treat law enforcement unit records of juveniles in the same manner as a law enforcement agency is required to treat law enforcement officers' records of juveniles. So think about this. FERPA does not forbid them from telling the parents, and nor does the law. He cited two things. Those are incorrect. Is it ignorance? Or at a certain point, is there a trend where every time they make a mistake or there's a clerical error, somehow it tips the scales toward a complete lack of accountability for only one side of the equation? The servants, not the parents. Who are they serving? It's not FERPA. It's not a Wisconsin state statute. That is not true. That's why those parents are pissed. Let me give you some more claims that he makes here. Here's another claim. Superintendent, when was pressed further, insisted that, and this is the kind of thing that is, I don't want to misuse this term, emotionally damaging to parents. Now, I don't mean emotionally damaging and that you have a bad ex-boyfriend, or emotionally damaging that you had a father who never told you that he loved you because he grew up with a dad from the Great Depression. I mean emotionally damaging in that you may never be able to trust that the safety of your children is ensured again when you place them in an environment like public schools because that's all you can afford.
Ultimately, I think what you're saying is part of the process in notification is to essentially calm the fears of the public. Would that be accurate?
It would be, but at that point, there was no need to alarm the public.
So if you were in that school, attending that school, wouldn't you want to be notified of that?
Given all the information that was provided to us and law enforcement, we didn't see a need to inform the entire public.
You didn't see a need? That kid had 2 weeks to shoot up the school.
So if your
your
life was in danger, your life is more superior than these kids?
Here's the truth. There was massive reason for alarm. Let me give you the timeline. October 23rd, 2023. The student, again, I want to reiterate this. The student whose journal was procured, dates, times, weapons, how to build them, materials collected for the weapons, being cross-referenced, some of them in an Amazon cart, along with plans to block the exits which exits, class schedules, and which plan B. The date was changed with great specificity. By the way, not a small detail, looking to enlist the help of other students. October 23rd. This student is suspended. December 6th is when the student was expelled after a closed-door school board hearing. Think about that. 5 weeks where this is someone with a detailed plan on executing, most important, the kind of targets. Preppy bitches, jocks.
There was a notebook with a list, too.
There's a notebook with a list.
That we don't have access to, but yeah.
Yep. 5 weeks where this student has nothing but time on their hands and is now even more isolated and ostracized. We have no idea if they got any help. All we do know is this student was suspended before they were expelled, and during this period, a danger zone of 5 weeks, no parents were notified. Not even the parents of the targets. No cause for alarm? You think that would happen in your workplace if you work at a private company? Ask yourself this. If you had an employee right now at your office who they caught on security camera footage acting erratically, went through his desktop, and found not only something on his iMac, maybe he's a Windows guy, I don't know, that's irrelevant right now, don't get distracted. But they found a notebook with your name and names of other people in your office, the plan on how they were going to murder you, the date as to when they were going to murder you, and the tools that they needed to procure, like a grocery list on how to murder you. Do you think that that employee would be suspended before they were fired and none of you would be notified? Or do you think there would be at least be a company-wide memo? Of course, that's a rhetorical question. So why don't we apply the same standard as it relates to children? Well, just apply the same standard that we have everywhere else in the workplace. Everywhere else in society. I guess it's our fault. So, for 5 weeks, unaccounted for, the student who wrote this, I can just imagine it going into the 8th grade doors like it's a normal day, but then I pull out a fully loaded semi-automatic shotgun as I go through the school. I will throw bombs and tear gas, blowing up the doors of classrooms. I want to kill every old man and woman who has claim to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit by chopping their fucking heads off and putting them on a stick to show there is no God, only human nature, along with dates and times, everything short of floor plans, as far as we know. 5 weeks, parents have no idea how often is this taking place across this country. And just so you aren't fooled, I don't think you are, just like with the Nashville Manifesto, remember, the messaging was, these people are out there harming the parents. I'm standing here in defense of the parents. I can't believe the media would cover this. Well, when Mr. Holmes tried to give his closing statements, the parents let him know how they felt.
I look at things from multiple angles. I am not a single, I'm not looking through a telescope. I have to look at things from multiple lenses. So I think now might be a good time for me to go ahead and
We're finishing each other's sentences.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
That's not what I was going to say. Don't finish my sentence. They don't speak for me. Well, isn't that funny? Because you claim to speak for them. Hey, Nashville mayor, where are you? Hey, the representative of the parent, remember that lawyer who issued that press conference? Where are you? I speak for these parents. Well, they just spoke. They just finished your phrase. However, as of showtime, Mr. Holmes has not resigned and remains in charge of the Chippewa Falls area USD. But the district did announce that they would change the reporting policy. This is what we have. The board will compile policies from other school districts and create a new policy for transparency and notification that does not violate parental rights per the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So they still had to fit in the lie. The implication that doesn't, well, that notifying the parents here wouldn't have violated anything, just would have kept the kids safe. Let me ask you this. Why do you think the administration really tried to hide this from the parents? I would argue two.
It's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
That's it. They don't care about your kids.
And often due to politics. They want you to believe that shooters are white supremacists out there. If you see time and time again like this, like Nashville, like, we listed, I believe there was one recently in Colorado, where you have leftist, ideological extremists who are going out there and targeting what they view as Christian conservatives, their own words, repeatedly, it draws attention from parents, particularly a lot of mothers out there who are more involved with schooling. It draws their attention to, wait a second, where did this child learn that? Not on a YouTube rabbit hole. They learned it from your school. How are they influenced by Karl Marx? How are they influenced through LGBTQAIP? Why do they have a rainbow flag? Why do they want to put that on their rifle when they shoot up Christians? You don't need to go through their YouTube feed. You look at the class curriculum. So they don't want accountability, and it depends on who the victim is, who the target is, and who the perpetrator. They get to decide. So let me offer you these tools here, by the way, because this is happening in the country at large. And I know that a lot of you are saying, okay, I can't afford to put my children in private school or homeschool them. My first piece of advice would be it is easier than ever. I'm not saying it's easy. It's easier than ever. And it's more cost effective than ever. And you can more efficiently than ever homeschool or look into alternatives. But if you don't have them available in your area and your children must go to public school, the first tool, get the school district's parental handbook. This is supposed to be available to all of you. Typically, it's available online. It includes the information on communicating with that specific school for information. That's an important one. Let me give you another tool. And we are making all of these available on a list, link in the description, along with the references for today's show. Familiarize yourself with the school district, their calendar, attend the meetings, assuming that they are doing everything in a transparent way. Familiarize yourself as best as possible, okay? Here's another tool for you. Number 3, stay on top of any referendums that take place in your district, at your school. Make sure you participate in them. Make sure you vote. Again, they are typically available on the district's website. Here's another tool. Join your local PTA. A lot of places have them. If there is no PTA, good news is you can establish one. Let me give you another tool here. Number 5, file some FOIA requests. Freedom of Information Act. I will tell you, sometimes this is a dead end. We never got anything from Governor Whitmer regarding the nursing home death toll because many people are above the law. However, you add these up, at least it starts applying pressure. They can't ignore all of you. You can file requests at the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, or if they are stonewalling you, you can reach out to some helpful nonprofits like the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council for assistance. Those are more Wisconsin specific, those last ones, but they vary from district to district. So start with those. Those are 5 tools: parental handbook, schedule, PTA, establish one if it doesn't exist, and make sure that you file some FOIA requests, attend every single meeting that you possibly can, and do it with as many people as possible. That's what you can do. Now, we are compiling some more information from Emily right now, crossing our T's and dotting our I's. We really do appreciate her coming forward. We did not expect that. And there are some very odd connections there, eerily similar. And so I'm very curious to see if there was any contact between these people. There may not have been. But again, you can't know. You only know that you have the manifesto, thanks to you and you sending your tips. You only know that according to that manifesto that this would-be mass shooter was trying to enlist and influence other students to do the same. So that's a nightmare. It's like the monster you don't see. You have no idea. That's another safety hazard. Here, I don't want to say safety hazard. It's like not wearing a bike helmet, which, they're useless, but you should wear your helmet, kids. They're perfect if you fall completely vertically, like you're in a Scottish World War II beach storming. We can't know.
There's ramps and there's like loop-de-loops. You don't know what kids are doing.
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't protect the side of your head.
That's true.
Those parts aren't important.
They aren't important.
That's what the skull's for.
It's the soft spot. By the way, a lot of these school board administrators, their whole head is a soft spot. So use these tools that are available to you, and we do need to see a fundamental shift in our country. Just take everything that has taken place here, and Nashville, and what's taking place, everything that's taking place in Florida, the pornography that they're putting in the school library for your children, right? Take all of these issues, and you cut off the head of the beast. If you just add school choice, that's no longer a school. They'll accuse you of being racist. Still waiting. Anyone provide me with any valid argument against school choice? I have yet to hear it. In my 36 years on this earth, I have never heard a single valid argument. Before we even get to defunding the Department of Education, how about we just start with vouchers? Meaning rather than $14.6 thousand per pupil, which is what's spent in this district. In Wisconsin, it's about $16,000 per student. Rather than simply putting that into a school board where you can't fire anyone who's tenured, attach it to the students so they can take it wherever they want. So we're not even talking about slashing spending. We're just talking about changing the way we spend money. Imagine if you had, just really, it's not that complicated. Imagine if you had that world. These parents aren't yelling, which is really a symptom of feeling helpless. Stonewalling. What are you going to do? Resign. Resign. They don't need to yell, resign. The person has to resign because they take their children out of that school because they have options. It's that simple. Anyone out there can provide me with a valid argument against at least shifting from our current public education model to school vouchers. I am all ears, and particularly if you are an expert on the subject, we would love to have you on the show. I have yet to hear it. Thank you very much to the people of Chippewa Falls, the parents. We hear you. We appreciate it. Thank you to you who have sent in these stories. We're chasing down a lot of other leads. You can support us if you want to see more of this at loudouscredit.com/mugclub. It's $89 annually. You can go mugless for $9 a month right now. And we're going to do another hour of show today. Well, I guess we went a little late, so probably not a full hour of show today, but you get Nick DePaolo every day. You get Friday show. You get Alex Jones. And none of this happens without you. Before we go, we're going to bring in Gay William. There's a change of pace. I forgot about this. Oh, yeah. There's 2 days left on the Ford Raptor giveaway and $10,000 cash. Nice. Every dollar that you spend is 10 entries to win at CrowderShop.com. And right now, I guess there's a flash sale of 30% off. So use the promo code Undercover for Mug Club and a 30% off flash sale because we are looking to store up for a long and cold winter of lawsuits. All right.
The winner of lawsuits sales event.
Yes.
That sounds like a Chevy commercial or something.
We need one of those Mug Club inflatables going.
Yes, please. It needs to look like you. That'd be great.
Or when we have our Spanish version, we can just have a very buxom lady going, ay, Mug Club is tasty.
Es muy caliente.
It's muy caliente. That's right. Look at my husband, and he only buttons his top button. The bottom buttons are gross. So
you gotta let the air flow.
Yeah, let the air flow, bro. That's why I wear 2 t-shirts and a wife beater under it too.
And I got the convertible. Let the air flow.
That's right. But if I go over like a chestnut, it's gonna ruin my suspension. So,
hey Paco, hit the switch.
It just drops tire poppers. Not that switch, bro. Hits another button. It covers up the license plate. No, that's illegal. I meant for the car to go like this. It's not practical. It's not about practical, man. It's a status symbol. So, I have like 9 of these in my driveway. So,
He doesn't have a driveway.
no, they don't even park on the curb.
I mean, the
in
front
Texas.
lawn.
Yeah, they just middle of the street.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I love them.
Hey, bro, go around. Go around. There's 2 lanes.
Big fan of the lowrider.
Put in the middle. It's like an island, but it's pretty. So, speaking of Hispanics, I hope that he's ready. I don't know. He's on deck. But we covered this yesterday too, as it relates to your personal security. And Gay William, a lot of you think that he's not a real person. He absolutely is a real person. He is my agent. He is Cuban American, and he is to the right of Attila the Hun, and he has some very strong opinions on immigration. You know what? Let's bring him in.
We're gonna bring him in during the setup here.
During the setup?
Yeah, we'll.
All right.
About the
Okay.
clip and
well, we talked about this earlier this week. The new information that came out regarding the murder of Lake and Riley, again at the hands of the blood is on the hands of administrative officials who didn't do their job, whether it's a school board or whether it's the federal government who won't allow you to deport illegal immigrants who are already committing violent crimes. Here's a refresher.
We just received the affidavit that lays out the evidence against Iberia, an illegal immigrant from Venezuela. We want to warn you, it is hard to comprehend what he did to this young woman, what he allegedly did, I should say, to this young woman. The documents say Iberia disfigured Riley's body and skull with a heavy object. He's also accused of trying to stop her from calling 911 during the struggle, which means the struggle went on for a while. Afterwards, the documents say he tried to hide her death by dragging her body to a secluded area. What happened next is even more disturbing, and we're told it's all on videotape.
So we're going to cover this topic and more with some news updates. And the topic of illegal immigration with our favorite resident gay, right-wing extremist, Gay William. Hello, Gay William. How are you, sir?
Olay!
I saw him practicing that earlier.
I'm pretty sure we have some clamshells back there that we could have gotten you.
That should go with my outfit on the overlay.
I love that he still hasn't noticed what we've done with the mask. All right, Gay William, we're going to go to Mug Club here because we've gone a little bit over time, but you do have some strong opinions. You're Cuban American, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And illegal. Oh, you go ahead.
No, legal. No, we're legal.
You're legal.
No, we're legal. We're not dirty spicks.
Okay. All right. You know what? Hit this if you're on Rumble, hit the button below.
Sorry.
Join Mug Club. YouTube.
forgot.
Thank you. Piss off.